What's going on, everybody? It's Kevin, the Traveling Tech, coming at you again with another video talking about what's stopping you from traveling. And although I have it labeled the Philippines, what's stopping you from traveling, period. If you haven't seen all 50 states, then, you can still even travel around the country if you're in the United States. Usually what's stopping everybody from traveling is either money or maybe family obligations. If you're married and you got small kids, then yeah, you can't really travel like that. But again, as I said, you can still just travel around the country. But if you're older, kids are older, you're single, the things that's probably going to stop you from traveling is just money. And I don't know, maybe if you still just have outstanding child support. But don't get black pilled. And black pill, basically what that means is taking like a fatalistic attitude, like everything is hopeless. Don't take that attitude. Especially, if you're in the 50-year-old age range like I am. You grew up Generation X. We had to get it from the mud anyway. We know what struggle is like, and we're no strangers to hard work. And for all my younger guys out there, if you happen to be listening, just take that attitude of being more self-disciplined. Nothing comes easy. And I know sometimes you may think some of the way some of these guys talk, things can be easy, but anything worth doing is not. All right. It just isn't. A lot of the guys that travel over to the Philippines, they're usually older. They may have a pension, from being in the military. They've retired or something like that. And they have a pension, or they may be on disability. You actually can draw disability and live in another country. And the way things are now, in the West, things are pretty expensive. So actually living overseas is not a bad idea. And a lot of the younger guys, they, work and they take them over there. They may be digital nomads, and that type of life is a lot more difficult than what it may seem to be, but it is possible. But if you're a 9-to-5 type of person in the U.S. and you're barely making ends meet, things like that, my suggestion, and I'm just going to keep saying this, is to, you may have to get a second job or something like that, but work on skills. Okay, just continue to work on skills. I was an academic, and one of the things I think for one of my papers, when I was going for my master's degree, was pretty much on how education, that fight to go to college versus the trades, how that all came about. Well, right now, again, as I keep saying, we need more tradesmen, and just picking up another skill on the side just for practicing a few hours, a week, can get you more. Back in the day, at least when I came up, it was all about, you need to hurry up and get out the house and be on your own. As a appliance repair tech, I've gone out, and I remember this one case where I went to this house, and it was pretty much, any house over 5 rooms is considered a mansion. And I go there, and it's an Indian family. Grandpa lives there. The sons live there, like 4 sons, and their wives and their children. So we got like 3 generations living under the same roof, and they were all surgeons. So if you have to live with family, don't be ashamed. If you have a good relationship with your relatives, even if you got to stay with your mom. Again, if you're older, no one's checking for you here in America anyway. Who cares, what people think if you are still staying with relatives or even staying with your mom? Rent a room, anything that you can use to save money. If you're like me and you just work all the time, you're not doing anything anyway. You just need good transportation, a decent transportation, reliable transportation to get you around. You're not trying to get a Maserati or something like that. If you're older, we're not in that stage where you're trying to impress somebody by what you have. So be minimalist, do what you need, get a second job or get a second skill. A second skill would be best, particularly the ones that where you can work with your hands. becoming a contractor. Again, learning plumbing, learning HVAC, learning electrical. It's never too late. And as long as if you got every day of your life to change, and pick up something new. To me, I don't want to be in a position where I'm older and my body's not working anymore to where I can't even enjoy life at an older age. Nothing's promised. So don't be black pilled on things. Just get your obligations in order, learn a different skill where you can parlay that skill into getting more money. So that would be my advice to you. If that's keeping you from traveling, and you don't have to go to the Philippines. You don't have to go all the way around the world. You can just go to some place closer. Because I guarantee you, though, when you start to get out of the United States, it will broaden your horizons, and you will think less and definitely think differently about how things are run here. Again, United States, great country, but again, expensive. But you can go to other countries and spend a lot less money and have a pretty good quality of life. Again, I don't stay in these countries when I visit them. I visit them about a month at a time, because I still have, my kids are grown, but they're still younger. They still need me around. So I just make sure that I am available, for them, because they're just pretty much starting out, in their young lives as well. They're just getting settled in their own, careers and things like that. So it's still just good to be around. But, if you've worked all your life, you were married, you raised a family, and you made it all about that family, you made it all about that wife. And then when things go south, then we can be stuck in well, what's my purpose? What am I supposed to do, now? Well, there's a whole world out there, and other people are waiting. You just never know. So I would say that's the way to go. Learn a different skill. But when you travel, learn, do some exercise, start walking. And right now we got the Philippines van at Limket Kai Mall having a battle of the bands. And I'm done with my spiel, so check out the band. I had a great time in Cagayan.